Alright, so I'm here with Ferris and Reese of the Horrors ahead of their Big Day Out performance, and it appears that they're in the best part of the world to avoid the freezing chaos in the UK. So welcome to New Zealand.
Hello, thanks very much.
Now you're here for the Big Day Out. What sort of reputation does it have back home for you guys?
Funnily enough, which is a cool thing for us, a lot of the people and bands that we know that have been out here call it the Big Day Off. But because the shows are really great, but because you're travelling so much, you get a load of time to actually explore and spend time in the cities.
Yeah.
So I mean, the actual shows have been reported as being, so some of the best festivals. But we're looking forward to actually exploring a bit as well.
And what are you guys most excited about performing at a touring festival like the Big Day Out?
Well, for us, it's the first time we've been back in this area for 2 years anyway. We've only played Australia once. So it's playing the new record, for the first time really. And we've already bumped into people who've been up to a record shop up the road and already bumped into those people who are looking forward to the show. So that's, that's the best thing really.
And you guys have hooked up with the Gorillas. What was it like sharing your creative juices, and when can we expect to hear something?
We don't know when it's going to be put out, but I mean it was pretty cool. I mean, it was fairly relaxed. Like Damon just, asked us to come in the studio and hear some of his ideas that he'd been working on, and sonically they were really interesting. So I mean, I don't know, we played around a few things, and it was cool. We just we added our own bits into stuff that he'd already done.
And when I told her I didn't love her anymore, she cried.
Now, covering all musical spectrums, you guys even had a stint in DJing?
DJing? Well,
Yeah.
we were all big record collectors. I mean, one of the reasons we got together as a band and as a group of friends in the first place was our shared interest in vinyl and certain bands and certain sounds. So I think, for us it's that idea, if you're interested in listening to music and kind of finding out things or searching through like dusty record stores, I think the next thing you want to do is like play them to people to listen to as well. So even for all of us before playing together as the Horrors, we're often with DJ.
What music would you play?
Or anything. I mean, we like all sorts of stuff, really.
Cool.
We do a thing called the Cave Club in London, which is kind of primarily a kind of garage and psychedelic night.
Nice. You're a bit keen on New Zealand music. What kind of brought you and involved you in New Zealand music interest?
One of my favourite things really is just searching out psychedelic music from all over the place, really. So over the years I've kind of heard bits and pieces. I think a standout track is a band called the House of Nimrod, who released 2 singles, and one of the tracks is called Slightly Delic, which I've got. And there's compilations and stuff of just groups, some groups that maybe would have been in the charts but did an odd B-side. There's a band called The Avengers, who were active in the late 60s. They did some interesting things. I just picked up a single by a band called The Underdogs. So it's kind of mainly the kind of beat and psychedelic sounds. And then there's a band called The Human Instinct who recorded, I think, a couple of their early singles in England, but when they moved back to New Zealand, did a whole run of insanely heavy kind of wah-wah drenched LPs. So there's just loads of great stuff, there's great stuff like that, and I just think the interesting thing about us being able to travel is actually trying to find those groups, in the places they came from. So that's what I was interested in doing, and found a few bits yesterday. And I think another group, moving away from the 60s, is a band called The Chills, who are really big over here. And a single called Pink Frost, which I think was probably a hit.
And you found that yesterday?
I already had that.
That's
just another group that we like.
Cool. So every time you're in a different country, you always scope out some music from that country?
That's usually our first stop.